back from Star Wars Celebration. Thank you to everyone who has watched my last video to do with the videos, the vlogs and stuff I took from Celebration. It was a truly memorable and wonderful experience, and that's in part due to Simon, Michael Davies and Dave Munns, as well as Roberto Callis, Retro Rebel, but mainly Simon and Dave, because I spent the majority of Friday and Saturday and Thursday whenever we went to Harrods and things like that, which will be in a separate video. There probably will be about 3 or 4 videos. This video will have what I got signed, what I bought, but before that I'm going to put in the Rogue One stuff. Now there was like a Rogue One museum, so I'm going to put that in here, and then after that's finished then I'm going to show you what I've got. So I will be back after this here, so enjoy. There's little cards that give you a brief rundown of each character and each item, so hopefully that will be of use to you and you enjoy it. So I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so hopefully you like that. It took me quite a while to figure out that music, because that is obviously from the behind the scenes trailer, very much like they did for episode 7 and San Diego Comic Con whenever they showed that, and it had the Epiphany, I think it was called, music, which I quite enjoy. But that music from that trailer had been in my head, and Simon and Dave will testify to this, that it was fine. That was in my head for ages. But yeah, so Before we go on the Star Wars stuff, I'd like to thank Robbie, Simon and Dave. Robbie, I know, got me this signed. I give them money for this, obviously, which is, obviously, it has Superman, Batman, and Adam, which is signed by Brandon Routh. So he got that signed for me. I wanted to go for one that kind of, because obviously he's played Superman and he's played Adam, hasn't played Batman, so if he plays him, then wonderful. So I got that signed. Dave also got me, he went down to his Disney store for May the 4th and got me this here signed by Warwick Davis, because I think his dad was with him, so he had like a free autograph, so he got that for me, so thank you very much for that, Dave. And then this, oh, I was so happy whenever I saw this. So thank you, Dave. And he got me the lovely Felicity, lovely Emily Bett Rickards, however you pronounce it, but it's just, I said I love that photo and went good because it was the only one left, so thank you very much for that, Dave. So now on to the Star Wars stuff. I've kind of got it all around the place here. So obviously whenever you go in, you get given a badge, which obviously we're apparently adults. This is a 3-day pass. Robbie, with him when you go on a Sunday, had a Chewbacca, so he had a Chewbacca, Kylo, and something else. The Vader one were for like access all area ones. You had like Chris Hayden, who I was gutted that I didn't get to meet, so hopefully down the line Chris, our paths will cross. He had the Poe Dameron one, which was cool. Yeah, right, so I'll get these out of obviously with there being a lot of artists and things like that, you have business cards, but the unique thing is that they put their art on their business cards. So this is Robert Hendrickson. You have this one here, which is Vader talking to guy. You have this one here, which I love, which is Leia over the trash compactor with an R2-D2 umbrella. An R2-D2 like this here. I think I am missing one. I think I'm missing one because his art was absolutely sublime. No, it's this one, Jason Palmer. His art was absolutely incredible. He had like the likes of Indiana Jones, Walking Dead. He did like obviously some Star Wars ones were some beautiful art. He did like one of Daenerys and Tyrion Lannister from, that's easy for me to say, from Walking Dead, or from Walking Dead, what the frig? From Game of Thrones. Sorry, I'm kind of tired, but I want to get this done. So it's fresh in my memory. But his art was amazing. And then we got like some bookmarks and this card thing, which was cool. Right, so you can all go over there. Okay, right. Whenever obviously you go to the convention as well, you are giving one of these, which is kind of like this is kind of like your Bible. Obviously at the back you have like the maps of where everything is. Now the thing is that obviously you have here the different stalls. So if you go to N723, then you kind of have to go, you know, you have here the list of what's there. So apparently people were visiting the Disney store, which wasn't actually listed on this, which was very strange. I didn't really look at this too much. It's kind of a case of once you kind of wander around it once or twice, you kind of know where everything else is. And then obviously you have in here, you know, like your breakdown of events and such like that. We did have to, like, if you wanted a wristband, you would have to be there early. Now we got one on the Friday for the Rogue One. I don't know if you can see that, a Star Wars story. Now, we never actually made it to that because we were stuck in Hamill's queue. We'd already paid our money and it was like about 4 o'clock, but he wasn't feeling well, so we waited there until 5, and then we were basically told we would have to come back tomorrow and get it done. Which was a pain in the backside because obviously it was 20 quid. We would be like, right, we'll not worry about it, but we'd paid £135 to meet Mark Hamill. And it was a case of, just let us, you know, there was people who were only there on the Friday, and I think a lot of people BS and said they were there for 3 days, kind of we did. We said we were only there Friday, but we went. And then there was a guy, Dave, he had like a book he had signed from a lot of people who weren't around anymore, and so we bumped into him. Obviously we met him on the Friday, then he was near enough, we were in the same vicinity on the Saturday, and then we bumped into him on Sunday as well. Really nice guy, and hopefully if he's watching, good guy, Dave. There was a couple other people, like a guy, Phil, who we met in the Harrods thing the day before, and the Thursday. We met him again on the Friday, and you just see familiar faces from whenever you're in the queue and you're just talking to people. And that was another thing that Simon said, and I will totally agree on, is the atmosphere was brilliant. There wasn't a lot, any pushing and shoving. Nobody actually bumped into me. Nobody wasn't, you know, you get people who are in a rush, but the convention centre is so big and so vast. It's like you have different areas where you can go in and go out. You know, you can go outside, catch a breath of fresh air, which Dave and I had to do on the Saturday while we're waiting for Simon in the Rebels queue. Yeah, right. So, yeah, so there's that there thing to do with the Disney store, which says about the Imperial Guard thing, which is available then, and then the C-3PO and R2-D2 thing as well. Right, okay. I did get a pop vinyl, which is the Luke Skywalker on Bespin. Some of them have, hi Dave, you just sent me a message. Some of them had stickers like this. I know Chris didn't get, he got like the Galactic one, which was on like the Han Solo ceremony and the Luke Skywalker ceremony, but Luke Skywalker ceremony had these here, and there was an exclusive 4-long pop which you could only get at the convention, but this was enough for me. I just wanted something to commemorate that with, and that was the main thing I did. And I was speaking of Luke Skywalker, I'm so happy to have met Mark Hamill. Now, I'll tell you a story about this. There was that, obviously I wear, as you can see in my videos, I wear a cap quite a lot. And I wore a cap whenever I met him, but it wasn't round like this, it was a flat cap, and it kind of like blanked out here, and so I went and got the photo done again. There was a stunning looking lady in front of me, and he was like, oh my god, look at you, and she was loving life, she was laughing. He put his head on her chest, and she was like laughing back and all this here, so that's why he has a big smile on his face. That's why I have a big smile on his face, and go like, oh, she's still laughing. But I'm super happy with this photograph. Obviously I had to get like a wee protector just to make sure that it came back, but it's just, you know, it was one that whenever I got the autograph, which I'll show you later, and the photograph, you know, like we were all smiling because all our photos came out brilliantly. And it's just one that I just kept looking at going like, I can't believe I've met Mark Hamill, you know. And obviously he's not that small, he's sitting on a chair. He's not a hermit Robbie, and he's not a midget either. He's sitting on a chair. So yeah, super happy with that. Okay, I did also get a couple of t-shirts, which the thing with this shop was, with WrestleMania, you have they have the Superstore, which you can kind of go in, buy the t-shirts, etc. Whereas this one you had to queue outside for, and the majority of the times the queue outside was like about an hour and a half. Whenever we went, the queue was 60 minutes, and it was like, you know what, we need to go in, we need to have a look and see what there is. There was a couple of t-shirts that I wanted. There was an Admiral Akbar fish and chips one, which I really wanted to get, but they didn't have it. After watching Chris's video, he had like a Admiral Akbar thing that was like a England shirt. I can't really remember much about it. I watched it this morning. I did watch it, Chris, but there was that much stuff, it's hard to, you know what it's like. And it was like, where did he get that from? I would have loved, that would have made up for it, because he's wearing the old England top, which has the Admiral badge, and it's obviously Akbar, and it just looked cool. So I got the Star Wars Celebration Finn t-shirt, which you can see there. It says Europe 2016 Star Wars Celebration. It actually says it on the back of it as well. I don't think it says it on the sleeves. No, it doesn't. But thankfully, one of the ones that I wanted was the Poe Dameron one. Now this is very, obviously these icons, these pictures are the ones that are on your badges. So this is the one that Chris, yeah, this doesn't need wash, Not that I've worn it, but it's just a case of, you know, it's shot fresh. But yeah, this would be the picture that Chris would have had on his badge. So yeah, this is my badge now. My badge, bitch. Okay, right, so I also did get Forbidden Planet. Had like a lot of comics, obviously a lot of Star Wars comics. I do collect the action figure variant ones. and I got the Darth Vader Vader Down, sorry, #1. There was another place selling it, which is exactly the same, only it has like a different icon. You know the way there's some ones that you have like a different company that will have, it'll be the same thing, but it'll have a different logo on it. It was the same, but it was 15 quid. So that's that. So it's like the old checklist on the back of the cards, which I thought was absolutely fantastic. For £3.65, I think it was. Yeah, I'm gonna snap that up. No problem. Add that to my swag bag. Yeah, so really happy with that. And then Forbidden Planet, we're also doing one that was Han Solo #1, which was a Star Wars Celebration exclusive, which was this. So obviously you can see down there, Forbidden Planet, Star Wars Celebration Europe 2016. That was a £5 for that. They did have like that Star Wars Insider magazine, but because I collect the comics and I collecting all these, this made more sense to me. And obviously having this here made more sense as well. Right. Also, whenever you went in each day, you were given some of these Force Attacks cards. I have 2 sets of them. Just something to remember the event by, but wasn't anything overwhelming, you know. Okay, right. I suppose we'll go on to the signatures then. Yes, that's right, yes. Okay, so I met Anna, I can't remember her name. Basically, she plays Dasha Permente in The Force Awakens, and she signed one of my sleeves. Nice lady, but obviously with her being French, there was a bit of a language barrier there as well. She just finished like a panel, I think it was on Jedi News or something like that, some podcast anyway. Thanks to Simon for getting us to meet Samantha Aline, I want to say. I'm horrible with pronouncing surnames. But she signed this, so it says, "To Chris, join the First Order." Signed her name, first ever female stormtrooper. So she's the one in the documentary that she has like kind of like the balaclava around and going like, "You can't wipe the smile off my face." That's like obviously whenever they're on, whenever Poe gets out of the X-Wing and runs around, then they all come down. So she was absolutely gorgeous, absolutely beautiful inside and out, and such a warm person. With a lot of these things, we're in the right place at the right time. I said to Simon, "Oh, have you texted Samantha yet?" And went, "No." Text her, and she went like, "Oh, I'm just walking past N11," and there she was. But she was brilliant. She took the time to talk to us, ask us how our time was, you know, and it was a case of just, I got these from work, so it was a case of we all had something for her to sign, and you know, put it in a Blu-ray sleeve, put it on display somewhere or whatever. But she was an absolute joy to meet, and from here on out, the majority of them will be. Okay, right. Anyone familiar with Rancho Obi-Wan with Steve Sansweet? There is like, if you remember a while back, I was talking about maybe taking an action figure book and getting people to sign that, and then that plan went out the window, and then another plan came out the window, and then another plan went into the window, and it stayed in the window. And so I got him to sign this. So it just says, "To Chris with the Force, Steve Sansweet." So he basically has all like loads of Star Wars memorabilia and things like that. He has like a museum thing. Rebel Force Radio on YouTube, look them up, and they do like a tour of this with Mr. Sansweet. It's really interesting, and he has so much stuff on it, it's unreal. One of Simon's highlights, I will have to say, I don't think you could wipe a smile off his face even if you use a wet wipe. Inside jokes, sorry. Yeah, it was Sam Witwer, who obviously was in Star Wars Force Unleashed, was in Star Wars Clone Wars as Darth Maul, in Rebels as Darth Maul, and Emperor Palpatine as in Star Wars Battlefront. So I thought, luckily, I had a Battlefront lithograph, which I got my strategy guy, so I got him to sign that. So thanks to Simon, he was the one who did the voice in the last video, you know, like, your skills no match for the power of the dark side. And he did say to me that he loves Battlefront, but he hates the fact that he always gets killed by himself. So yeah, so I got 2, so I got this one here, and I love this shot. I don't know if this will show up on camera, which is Darth Maul. and I like the fact that he signs it with the character name underneath it. Very, very friendly gentleman, really, really nice. We queued for quite a while on the Saturday, I want to say. Yes, Saturday. Sorry, the days kind of all mesh into one. We kind of queued up a bit on the Saturday to meet him. Yes, and he was meant to be signed at 2, didn't arrive. It was meant to be signed after 4, so it was after about 3 o'clock they gave us virtual queue tickets to come back, and then we came back at slightly before 6, and it said that he wouldn't be signed today, it would be tomorrow instead. So we asked the girl, what about her virtual queue tickets? We don't know, so we kept them anyway. And on the Sunday, we went back up and said, like, we were here yesterday, and your woman was like, oh no, your virtual queue tickets aren't, they don't do anything. We're giving fresh ones out today. I was like, well, that's a waste of time. So then whenever we went back at about, what time was he signing up? About 2 or 3? We went back later on, and they were waiting for him to arrive, and then we went and sat down. I went round to check out what the score was, and the guy went, yeah, we're only doing 1 to 20, and I went, right, and he said, were you here yesterday? I went, yes. They went, do you still have your ticket? I went, yes, I do. I went, get in line. I went, I need to go and grab my mate, can I come back in a minute? And he went, be quick. So I belted around. I said to Sam, do you still have your bit for yesterday? And I was like, what? And really, do you still have your virtual queue ticket for yesterday? Yes, right, well, come on. And Robbie's like, what's going on? I was like, do you just stay there? It doesn't matter. So we went round, joined the queue, and there was like 2 people maybe behind us, and I don't know how much he did because he was only signing until like 3 or 4 o'clock. So it was really, really limited signing. So again, right place, right time. Beside him was the absolutely wonderful Matthew Wood, who voiced General Grievous. Absolutely fantastic. Cannot praise that guy enough. Was just talking to him. He, you know, like he would ask you what your name was, and I was like, how you found it in London? It was like, oh, I've been in London for a while, you know, like just finished on Rogue One, so he's doing some work with Rogue One. I was just saying to him that episode 3 is one of my favourite, which it is. It's like my second favourite Star Wars movie, and he went, oh, that's very kind of you. With Sam and with Matthew, we got photos, which I'll probably put at the end of this here, if it doesn't go on too long, because I want to kind of keep it together. And so I got him to sign this here, which was Chris Crushton, Matthew Wood, voiced General Grievous. He actually did this down the bottom, which was really, really cool. But this shot, there was a couple other ones, but this shot, I was like, right there, that would look awesome. And I'm really, really happy with that. And before I get on to my main piece, the highlight of the convention for me, and don't laugh, but was Daniel Logan. He was absolutely fantastic. He took time with everyone. He was sitting, instead of sitting on this side, he was sitting on the other side where you walked up. So he got up, he shook your hand, he was asking how you were, etc. like that. It came to the point that I met him that it encouraged Dave to meet him and to Simon to meet him as well, because he was just that good. You know, he said the pleasure was all his meeting me on Twitter as well, and I really wish that I had something for him to sign, and chances are if I see him at a convention at some stage that I'm attending, I will meet him again, and I will make more of an effort to buy something for him to sign that means more to me, because he was just awesome. The only downside was that we had a photo shoot with him on the Sunday, and it was meant to come, it was meant to be at 2 o'clock, so we walked around about 1:30, and then we noticed that doesn't look right. They had changed the time. There was no notification on Twitter, no notification through the Star Wars Celebration app, which, to be honest, was as pointless as a friggin' app that's pointless. I don't know. It was pointless, is what I'm saying. So we had no updates, so we kind of went around and got a refund. We said, like, you know, we have our tickets here for 2 o'clock, but it's moved to 1 with no notification, etc. You went and scanned our tickets to make sure we hadn't been scanned in and give us a refund. We then went over, this was on the Sunday, so then Dave was like, I'm going to use mine to get an autograph from him, and Sam was like, yeah, I'm going to do the same. So we went over, met him, and yeah, I said, like, sorry, we missed your photo shoot. And I went, oh, it's alright, man, we're scheduled for 3:30. And I was like, we weren't told that. And he was just like, oh man. And he spoke to, like, one of the, I don't know whether it was one of the organisers or one of the staff members, and said, like, these guys bought photo tickets and got them refunded and weren't told that they were doing 1:30. I went, oh, must be a miscommunication somewhere. And I was like, you see what I'm up against? but he actually said, and I quote, "I love you guys." We got a cool photo with the three of us. And I gave him a hug as well, because I said to him, I wasn't BSing with him, I said, "You are the highlight of my convention." He went like, "Oh, thanks, man." I was like, "You have to," he was the one who gave him like pizza, so you'll see in my vlog that I went from dissing him to giving out pizza to being my top mate of the weekend, and that's true. And he wrote this: "Chris, don't lose your head." And they put him next to Jeremy Bulloch, which was cool as well. So that concludes. No, it doesn't. So here it is. You ready? You just soak that in. So we have Mark Hamill here. "Hey Chris, force yourself." Mark Hamill, lovely signature. We were kind of all standing there waiting to meet him, and he was having problems with some of the pens, and then they got a pen like this, and I think, yeah, it was Simon had his poster out, and he said like, "What? Where did he get?" And it was like, oh, he had his own pencil case, and oh, he would. So we had a bit of interaction with him. I was saying to him what an honour was to meet him, because obviously I've been a Star Wars fan since I was 5. I said that my dad and I went to see Force Awakens, and I thought that you wouldn't be appearing until the end. And how did you know that? But he was very, very nice, and you got to spend a bit of time with him. It wasn't the case of like with WWE stuff, it was go, you know, like the photo shoots, you got to spend a minute or two, which was good. We then have Carrie Fisher, who wrote Mrs. Han Solo. I was really worried about her, because having seen some of the newer ones now, she's signed in multicolours. She's writing things like, you know, Carrie Fisher on right, etc. So there was no experience with her at all. She had 2 tables in front of her, so I couldn't even shake her hand or say anything to her. It was like, "Here you go," and that was it. Peter Mayhew, we went to see pretty early. Shook his hand. The guy in front of us was kind of annoying him, asking if he could use his pen. Shook his hand, that was it. Anthony Daniels, he was absolutely amazing. He was so nice. He was asking how I was and everything. I was just like, you know, "Thanks so much, you know, I watched the Star Wars films with my dad. I went to see Return of the Jedi in the film, so, you know," and he said, you know, a few years ago that kind of meant nothing to me, but now with the newer generation stuff, you hear it a lot and you appreciate it more. And the guy in front of me was deaf, so he was like sign language and everything, and just doing everything like that, and he was just an absolute gem to meet. So I was going to add more to these, but with it being in the frame, it's going to stay in the frame. I don't want to take it out and add more signatures and the risk of ruining it, because as you can see in the back, it's kind of a bit, was it there? It's kind of a bit squished, so the front of it displays well. It'll be framed, and you know, I was just so happy. The fact is that we got these, I got 3 of the 4 pinned off on the Friday, and we near got Mark Hamill pinned off on the Friday. Then to have it all done on the Saturday, and the Sunday was just nice. The Sunday was actually a hell of a lot busier than I thought it would be, to be honest with you. I mean, I thought it would go, in terms of busyness, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you know, or Saturday, sorry, really busy, Friday, busy, Sunday, not so busy, but it was more Saturday, Sunday, Friday. But yeah, it was just an absolute thrill of a ride. Really, really enjoyed it. If there was come back to London again in the same arena, I probably would do it again. I know I bitched about it at the start. No convention's perfect, but whenever you're meeting your heroes with some of the best friends you could ever wish for or ever want to have, it kind of makes that even more special. And just to spend the time with the guys, you know, it was a year ago today that, you know, we're at LFCC, and now it's, I don't know whenever I'll be back over. I want to make more of an effort to go over, and, you know, but then that depends if Simon's coming down, if, you know, Dave and Robbie are in close proximity with each other, so it's a case of Simon and I, you know. But it was just an absolutely fantastic, fun convention, and just I can't thank the people I met in the convention, the likes of Samantha, and all the guests, you know, like all the ones who took the effort to come and talk to us or whatever, or you know, like whether it's a case of whether we're standing in the queue talking to people like Dave and Phil and what have you, and then to spend it with Simon and Dave and Robbie was just, you know, some people go like, why do you go to a convention, why don't you go on holiday? Go on a holiday and you can sit around and do nothing, or you can actually go and meet people who, you know, you've watched on TV for 33 years, sorry. And it's just been a lot of fun. So I'm going to put the photos at the end because this is actually not as long as I thought it would be. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I think I've covered everything. That's why I'm kind of looking around to make sure I've covered everything, which I'm pretty sure I have. And yes, thank you for watching. The photos will be next. Until next time, may the force be with you.